The Outer Worlds is upon us, and we've been loving it. Not only is it a great classic-style FPS RPG, but it's filled with clever secrets, Easter eggs, and references that we really enjoyed. In fact, lots of references especially. We've got 10 of them. So let's get started off with, of course, number 10. Now, Firefly was clearly a big inspiration in the making of Outer Worlds. I'm pretty sure the developers have even gone on record saying that. Well, here's a good direct reference to it right here in the game. Firefly seems to be this energy company within the game. You can see it on various crates throughout the world, and not only that, but it's also on certain batteries on weapons. It's like a visual thing, but it's really cool. Also, Firefly is very cool. You should watch it. You should even watch the movie Serenity. The game is certainly inspired by it all. Just look at your ship, the Unreliable. A lot of it seems like it's inspired by the design of Serenity, Malcolm Reynolds' famous ship from the show. This is just some food for thought, and honestly, we'll use any excuse to talk about Firefly. Over at number 9, though, a really freaking great line you may have heard in the game is from your companion Nyoka. If you have learned the ability to command your companions to do their special attacks, tell Nyoka to do the special attack and you may get the dialogue, "To shreds, you say?" Which is a great and freaking hilarious direct Futurama reference to Professor Farnsworth and a conversation he has on the phone way back in Season 1, Episode 3. There's not much else to say other than that, along with Firefly, Futurama was another heavy reference point for the developers. And honestly, it shows. Shout out to user Ali Wally Japali for spotting this one. Because next we actually have one more cool Futurama reference at number 8. A consumable food item that exists and is advertised in this world is Purpleberry Crunch. It might be a reach to some, but I don't know, I'm a big fan. This is a Futurama thing from way later in the show's lifespan. Season 7, the Saturday Morning Fun Pit episode. The episode has the Planet Express crew portraying characters on a kid's show, Purpleberry Pond. And it's like a big advertising scheme to get kids watching to eat Purpleberry Puffs, this cereal. And honestly, it's great. It's super ridiculous and hilariously cynical. The whole advertising thing is pretty close to how Outer Worlds parodies are all corporate future riddled with advertising. There are apparently a few more little subtle Futurama references, but these were our favorites. Next, over at number 7, here's a dialogue reference some of you out there might enjoy. At one point in the corporate primary quest line, the character Sherman Bradshaw says, "Oh well, here I go killing again." This is of course a direct reference to a famous Rick and Morty line, which is slightly different. "Oh boy, here I go killing again." The great line from the character Crumbopoulos Michael. Shout out to user Reaper is Due to seemingly being one of the first people to capture this. I feel like almost every game in 2019 has had some sort of Rick and Morty reference, and The Outer Worlds is really no different. Over at number 6 though, let's talk about Star Wars. This is a space game, so of course, there's gotta be some Star Wars stuff, but we were surprised with just how many good references there were. Shout out to Northman Bomber for seemingly being the first to spot this conversation. Basically, the dialogue options give you the whole "these aren't the droids you're looking for" scene from A New Hope. During this point, you can use the option to do "you don't need to see my identification" and move along, and then the person will repeat it and then let you move along and you go on your way. Totally classic. I absolutely love that. There's also another reference involving Han Solo's, "Hi, everything's fine here, we're fine," from the Death Star escape in the original movie. But this first one is just great because the game is full of dumb, gullible, idiot NPCs, and when you have your dialogue skill leveled up pretty strong, you can talk your way through anything, and it does kind of feel like you're using the Force and Jedi mind tricking everyone. So, solid job, Outer Worlds. You're kind of like a weird, low-key Star Wars game, and we love it.
Once you start getting dark, consume you, it will.
Over at number 5, though, on Monarch, right by the graveyard you can visit when you're helping Nyoka get the pills she requested as part of the radio-free Monarch main story mission, there's a house labeled as the Mather Residence. If you wander right on in, you'll be greeted warmly by the members of the Mather family who insist you stick around for dinner, locking all of the exits behind you. But while you wait, you can explore the house and get some hints as to what's going on, with the daughter Lizzie making some unsettling, offhanded comments about previous visitors.
There was this other man who used to bring them. Not anymore, though.
You can hack a door and exit without going any further, but I mean, this is an Obsidian RPG. You're gonna wanna poke around as much as possible and get some story bits, right? Now, if you're able to hack the locked door on the top floor, you'll find a room where the family has very obviously been butchering passing travelers to consume at their family meals, which is only confirmed even more when the head of the family, Edgar, confronts you about it when you go back into the kitchen.
Quickly, my dear. She's getting agitated. We can't let the meat spoil.
From there, it's up to you, whether you want to kill them, or talk your way out of it, or whatever. But it's a really, really cool short little cannibal diversion that's super reminiscent of the unmarked Fallout 3 quest, Our Little Secret, where you come across a small group of survivors in the wasteland who are up to some very similar cannibalistic trickery.
You should really stop by for dinner sometime.
And while Obsidian made New Vegas and not Fallout 3, it's safe to assume that the stuff still had some influence on quests, especially this one.
Too bad, stranger. I guess you'll just have to be our new meal.
We love silly, secret, weird cannibal quests you can come along in games like this, and we wanted to point this one out. Next at number 4, early on you can catch what is sort of a Dexters Laboratory reference, which is a weird but cool thing to say in 2019. So early on in the game at Groundbreaker, Parvati speaks up at a random conversation as you explore the environment, and she says this. It's like sort of a nod to the classic Dexter's Laboratory goof through Season 1, Episode 27, The Big Cheese, where Dexter says omelette du fromage, and it's just so dumb and hilarious if you remember it. To some, it might seem like a reach, but I saw myself and a lot of other people immediately picking up on it. For her to reference a cheese omelet and say fromage like that, I don't know, it's pretty damn good. Honestly, it makes a good character like Parvati just all the more charming. Now moving over to number 3, one of my favorite references in the game personally is actually for an achievement/trophy type of thing. These types of things are definitely a goldmine for cheeky references and secrets in a lot of games, but this one, called Anything for a Friend, I mean, look at the icon, look at this. It's perfect. It's one of my favorite dumb things from the classic 1987 Shane Black film, Predator. Carl Weathers' Dylan and Arnold Schwarzenegger's Dutch reunite in this ultimate bromance moment. Big beefy arms, they're all sweaty and shiny for no reason, and there's friendship in the air. Dylan, you son of a bitch. It's just the best thing ever. All you gotta do to earn this one is to finish a companion's quest line, which is something you should honestly be doing anyway because you'd be missing out on a lot of content. Next, coming down to number 2, does anybody here like the Beatles? Well, in the game, there's a Spacer's Choice weapon called simply Maxwell, and it's a big old hammer. This is pretty much a direct reference to the Beatles song Maxwell's Silver Hammer from their album Abbey Road. It's even referred to as the Silver Hammer in the item description. Now, this 1969 Beatles song is, certainly an odd one. It's like a goofy, light, upbeat song, but the lyrics are about a serial killer dude murdering a woman with a hammer. I'm not like a musical lyrics guy, but the lyrics are no joke. And I quote, "Bang, bang, Maxwell's silver hammer come down upon her head. Bang, bang, Maxwell's silver hammer made sure that she was dead." Yikes, dude. I mean, I guess it kind of fits with the Outer Worlds' goofy, humorous, but also murderous tone pretty well. Now, finally, down to number 1, here's the big one. Of course, as you probably know, the Outer Worlds shares a lot of blood DNA with Fallout. It's from Obsidian, the developers, like we said, behind Fallout New Vegas, and the Outer Worlds itself was written by some of the folks behind the original pre-Bethesda Fallout games. So it makes sense, like, there had to be some sort of Fallout Easter egg or sly reference in this game, right? Well, you got one here, in pretty clear view, too. Early on in the game, you'll head to Groundbreaker, where you'll dock and resupply, and of course deal with a bunch of other RPG story problems, of course. But the main area with the shops and the neon signs and stuff, you can see right here this big old door with a yellow 13 on it. Yep, that looks to us and many others like a nod to Vault 13 from the original Fallout games. The yellow, rounded font on a gray, maybe bluish metal door, that's gotta be a real reference, right? There are a couple of other little clever nods people are discovering in terminals and in dialogue moments, more subtle. But we think this one is absolutely one of the coolest.
And also, before we go, we got one more for you, kind of as a bonus, and it's a weird one. More and more people have noticed woolly cows showing up in the cargo hold of your ship, the Unreliable, just kind of unexpectedly. Now, Ada does mention shipments of fertilizer, but what the hell is this? It seems like a lot of people were puzzled, but thankfully some Firefly nerds got to the bottom of it, and yes, it is another reference to Firefly, specifically an instance of them hauling cattle and having cows right in Malcolm Reynolds' ship. So there you go. If you have cows show up in your cargo hold for some reason, at least you know what it's a reference to. What a weird, special game this is.
But this game is filled with little tiny nods like that. These are 10 of our favorites. We want to hear some of yours down in the comments. Have you been playing this game? Have you encountered anything hilarious, weird, Easter eggs, sequences, references? Let us know. If you enjoyed this video though, and maybe learned something, clicking the like button is the best way you can help us out. We'd really appreciate that. And if you're new, maybe consider subscribing and hitting that notification bell because we put out new videos every single day. Well, either way, as always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.